Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather to celebrate a name that echoes with inspiration, resilience, and the power of transformation, Joe Ranga. A man whose life is not just a single journey but a collection of countless stories stitched together with courage, vision, and determination. From humble roots to rising as a beacon of influence, Joe Ranga stands as a reminder that every individual carries within them limitless potential. His life teaches us that greatness is not born overnight. It is shaped through struggles, perseverance, lessons, heartbreaks, victories, and undying hope. Joe Ranga's story is not just his own, it is a mirror to all of us. A reminder that ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things when they dare to dream boldly and work relentlessly. Today, let us explore the legacy of a man who turned obstacles into opportunities and ideas into impact. A man who proved that one person can indeed be the start of many powerful stories. As we walk through the chapters of his journey, let us carry with us this truth. Life gives everyone stories, but it is up to us to make ours worth telling. Joe Ranga's journey begins far from comfort, privilege, or opportunity. He was raised in an environment where every sunrise brought a new set of challenges that could have easily discouraged a weaker spirit. But instead of breaking under pressure, Joe used these early struggles as fuel to build a stronger version of himself. Growing up, he witnessed hardship firsthand. There were moments when resources were scarce, when dreams felt too distant, and when life demanded maturity far beyond his age. Yet even in those moments, Joe carried something extraordinary within him, a mindset that refused to surrender. He understood that real strength is not developed in times of ease but forged in the fires of adversity. From a young age, Joe learned to adapt, to survive, and to believe in possibilities that he could not yet see. His humility kept him grounded, but his ambition kept him rising. He embraced the wisdom of his surroundings, learning from every setback and noticing every detail that could one day help him grow. What set Joe apart was not his circumstances, but his response to them. While others saw the limitations of their environment, Joe saw the training ground of his future. He looked at his struggles not as punishments, but as early lessons preparing him for greatness. Each challenge sharpened his character, each barrier strengthened his determination, and each small victory reinforced his belief that one day he would rise beyond the expectations placed upon him. These humble beginnings became the foundation of everything Joe would eventually achieve. They taught him resilience, patience, discipline, and above all, the power of an unshakable spirit that refuses to be defeated, no matter how difficult the path ahead may seem. One of the defining qualities that set Joe Ranga apart from an early age was his extraordinary ability to see life not just as it was, but as it could be. While many people remain confined by their circumstances, limited by what is right in front of them, Joe developed the rare talent of looking beyond the present moment and imagining a future filled with possibility. His circumstances were not ideal. He faced limitations, scarcity, and countless obstacles, but none of these were powerful enough to shrink his vision. Joe understood that circumstances are temporary but vision is permanent. He learned early on that if he allowed his environment to dictate his dreams, he would never rise above the ordinary. So instead of letting obstacles define him, he turned them into stepping stones. He trained himself to see opportunity in places where others saw closed doors. Where most people saw risk, Joe saw potential waiting to be unlocked. His vision was not built from fantasy, it was built from clarity. He didn't just dream without purpose. He created a mental roadmap of where he wanted to go, who he wanted to become, and what kind of impact he wished to leave behind. This clarity gave him direction, especially during moments when life felt uncertain. When others doubted him, his vision gave him confidence. When challenges tried to block his path, his vision reminded him of the bigger picture. Joe's ability to see beyond the surface also made him a source of inspiration to everyone around him. People felt drawn to him because he had the gift of showing them possibilities within themselves that they could not yet see. His encouragement ignited hope in those who had lost belief in their own potential. He became a guide, helping others understand that their present situation does not define their future, unless they allow it to. In every step of his journey, Joe's vision acted as a compass. It guided his decisions, sharpened his focus, and kept him moving forward when giving up seemed easier. With every challenge he faced, that vision became stronger, clearer, and more powerful. Joe did not let his surroundings limit him. Instead, he used his imagination, determination, and belief to rise above them. Joe Ranga did not become a leader because someone handed him a title or placed him in a position of authority. His leadership was shaped slowly, naturally, and authentically through the experiences that life placed before him. From an early age, he realized that true leadership isn't about commanding people. It's about understanding them. It's about listening to their struggles, recognizing their strengths, and standing beside them even when the path gets difficult. Joe's leadership grew from the ground up. He learned to lead not in moments of comfort, but in moments when everything around him was uncertain. When challenges surfaced, he didn't wait for someone else to take charge. He stepped forward. Not because he wanted recognition, but because he felt responsible for finding solutions. His willingness to act when others hesitated gradually earned him the respect of those around him. Every experience, big or small, added another layer to his leadership. From managing conflicts to supporting those who felt overlooked, Joe developed a powerful sense of empathy. He understood that people follow leaders who care, not leaders who command. This empathy allowed him to connect with individuals at a deeper level. He didn't just listen to words, he listened to emotions, fears, dreams, and unspoken concerns. Joe's leadership also came from his ability to lead by example. He believed that the strongest leaders are the ones who first hold themselves accountable. If he expected commitment from others, he demonstrated commitment himself. If he encouraged people to stay strong during adversity, he showed strength through his own struggles. His actions spoke louder than any advice he could give. Over time, people naturally turned to him, not because they had to, but because they trusted him. They trusted his judgment, his integrity, and his unwavering belief that together, challenges could be overcome. Joe never led to be admired, he led to create impact. He inspired people to see their own potential, to rise above their fears, and to become leaders in their own lives. This unique blend of empathy, experience, responsibility, and example shaped Joe Ranga into a leader who didn't just influence people. He transformed them. His leadership wasn't built overnight, it was built through years of learning, observing, enduring, and growing. In Joe Ranga's journey, failure was never an enemy, it was a mentor. A quiet, persistent mentor that taught him lessons no classroom, book, or lecture ever could. While most people fear failure and run from it, Joe learned to face it with open eyes and an open mind. He understood early on that failure doesn't define a person, it refines them. It strips away illusions, strengthens character, and builds resilience that success alone can never create. Joe did not experience small setbacks, he faced real, painful failures. Times when plans collapsed, when efforts went unnoticed, when the world seemed to turn its back on him. But instead of allowing these moments to break his confidence, he used them as stepping stones. He studied every mistake, not with shame but with curiosity. He asked himself what he could learn, how he could improve, and in what way he could turn the situation into something meaningful. What set Joe apart was the way he processed failure. Most people focus on the pain, Joe focused on the lesson. He believed that each failure carries a message, about our choices, our mindset, our discipline, or our direction. He treated failure like a map that points out wrong turns, guiding him toward a better path. Because of this mindset, he emerged from each setback stronger, wiser, and more determined. Failure also taught Joe patience. It reminded him that nothing great happens instantly and that growth takes time. It helped him develop emotional toughness, an inner strength that allowed him to stay calm in chaos, to think clearly when things fell apart, and to rise again when others expected him to fall permanently. These experiences shaped his identity, turning him into someone who didn't just endure hardship but learned how to transform it. Perhaps the most powerful lesson Joe learned from failure was humility. Success can make people forget where they started, but failure reminds them of their humanity, keeps them grounded and grateful. Joe embraced this humility, using it to connect with others who struggled, showing them that even the strongest people fall, but the truly strong get back up. Through every misstep, Joe discovered that failure isn't a roadblock, it's a mirror. It shows you who you truly are, what you need to change, and how much potential you still have left. This is why Joe never feared failure. He welcomed it, learned from it, and emerged better every single time. One of the most remarkable qualities that defines Joe Ranga is his unwavering commitment to lifting others as he rises. He never believed success was something to be enjoyed alone. Instead, he saw it as a responsibility, an opportunity to transform not just his own life but the lives of those around him. For Joe, empowerment was not a one-time act. It was a lifelong mission woven into everything he did. Joe understood that true leadership is not measured by how far one person climbs, but by how many people they bring along on the journey. Throughout his life, he made sure that his experiences, struggles, and victories became a source of strength for others. Whether it was offering guidance, sharing knowledge, or simply listening with empathy, he constantly created spaces where others felt encouraged, valued, and capable of achieving more. He had a unique way of seeing potential in people long before they could recognize it in themselves. Joe believed that every individual, no matter their background or circumstances, possesses hidden strengths waiting to be discovered. When he interacted with others, he didn't just see who they were, he saw who they could become. His belief in their possibilities often became the spark that ignited their confidence. Joe also led by example. His own story of struggle and growth became a powerful reminder to others that success is attainable for anyone willing to put in the effort. Rather than distancing himself from those still fighting their battles, he chose to walk beside them, showing that progress is not about speed, it's about persistence. He shared his mistakes openly, not to highlight failures, but to show that every setback contains a lesson that can elevate you. What made Joe's influence so impactful was the sincerity behind his actions. He didn't empower people for recognition or praise. He did it because he genuinely cared. He believed that empowering one person could create a ripple effect, lifting families, communities, and even generations. For Joe, every person he helped represented a story rewritten, a life improved, and a future strengthened. In a world where many chase success for themselves, Joe Ranga chose a different path. He became a source of strength for others, a guiding light for those lost in uncertainty, and a reminder that greatness is not about standing alone at the top, it is about bringing as many people with you as possible. As Joe Ranga journeyed through challenges, failures, and unexpected turns, something remarkable emerged from within him. A voice. Not just any voice, but a voice shaped by experience, strengthened by pain, and refined by perseverance. This voice became a source of comfort not only for him but for countless others who looked to him for guidance, reassurance, and strength. Joe's presence alone carried a message. No matter how dark life becomes, there is always a reason to rise again. Joe didn't speak from theory, he spoke from reality. Every word he shared was rooted in battles he had personally fought, in nights of uncertainty he had survived, and in moments when giving up might have seemed easier than moving forward. Because he knew what it meant to struggle, his words held weight. People listened, not because he demanded attention but because he earned it through authenticity and lived experience. His voice of resilience wasn't loud or forceful, it was steady, calm, and filled with conviction. He encouraged people during their toughest moments, reminding them that challenges are temporary, but strength is permanent. For those who felt overwhelmed by life's difficulties, Joe became a reminder that even the deepest wounds can heal and even the strongest storms eventually pass. Beyond resilience, Joe brought something equally powerful: hope. He had an extraordinary ability to make people believe in better days, even when the present felt unbearable. He helped them see that setbacks are not signs of defeat but invitations to grow. His optimism was never unrealistic or blindly cheerful. It was grounded in truth, shaped by the proof from his own life that perseverance always leads somewhere meaningful. Joe's words became a lifeline for many. He inspired confidence in those who doubted themselves, strength in those who felt weak, and courage in those afraid to take the next step. His message reached people from all walks of life: students, workers, dreamers, and even those who had lost direction. No matter who they were, Joe made them feel seen, understood, and capable of rising beyond their struggles. What made Joe's voice so impactful was its sincerity. He didn't speak to impress, he spoke to uplift. He didn't speak to prove his strength, he spoke to help others discover their own. And over time, his resilience and hope became a powerful force, one that touched hearts, transformed perspectives, and encouraged countless individuals to keep moving forward, no matter how heavy the journey felt. One of the most powerful qualities that set Joe Ranga apart from many others was his ability to transform dreams into reality. While countless people carry beautiful dreams in their minds, only a few have the discipline, courage, and patience to chase them relentlessly, and Joe was one of those rare few. He believed that dreams were not meant to be stored away in silence. They were meant to be lived, worked for, and turned into achievements that could inspire others. Joe understood something essential: dreams remain dreams unless action brings them to life. He knew that desire alone was not enough. Passion had to be supported by persistence, and vision needed to be paired with consistent effort. So, while others talked about what they wanted, Joe quietly worked toward what he envisioned. He broke his big dreams into smaller steps, tackling them one by one, refusing to be overwhelmed by the distance between where he was and where he wanted to be. His journey was not smooth, nor was it guaranteed. There were days when progress felt slow, when plans fell apart, and when obstacles seemed impossible to overcome. But Joe's mindset stayed firm. He understood that action, even small action, builds momentum. Every step taken, no matter how small, moved him closer to his goal. He believed that hard work was an investment, one that would eventually repay him in ways far greater than he could imagine. Joe also valued discipline. He knew that success comes not from working when it's convenient, but from showing up even when it's difficult. He sacrificed comfort, time, and sometimes even sleep to stay committed to the path he had chosen. His relentless consistency became a quiet force that propelled him forward, proving that dedication is more powerful than talent alone. What made Joe's approach even more remarkable was the way he balanced dreaming and doing. He never lost the ability to imagine big possibilities, yet he remained grounded enough to do the hard work required. He believed that dreams without effort were empty, and effort without direction was wasted. This balance allowed him to progress steadily while keeping his eyes fixed on a future that motivated him daily. Joe's ability to turn dreams into action inspired those around him. People watched him transform ideas into achievements and learned that success is not magic. It is the result of determination, discipline, and the courage to take the first step. He became living proof that anyone, regardless of their background or circumstances, can achieve greatness if they are willing to put in the work and chase their dreams with everything they have. For Joe Ranga, legacy was never about fame, recognition, or applause. It wasn't about having his name written in books or praised by crowds. Instead, Joe believed that true legacy is built quietly, through daily choices, through the way one treats others, and through actions that continue to inspire long after the moment has passed. He understood that what truly remains in the world is not what people say, it is what people do. Throughout his journey, Joe lived with a deep awareness that every action carries impact. A small gesture of kindness, a decision grounded in integrity, or a moment of courage can create ripple effects that reach further than anyone expects. Joe made choices with this understanding. He acted with intention, compassion, and responsibility. Whether he was helping one person or influencing many, his focus was always the same: to make a positive difference. He believed that character was the foundation of legacy. Titles can be forgotten, achievements can fade, but character remains etched in the memory of those who experienced it. Joe built his life on values: honesty, humility, empathy, and hard work. These values shaped how he worked, how he led, and how he treated every individual who crossed his path. Even in difficult moments, he stayed true to who he was, showing that strength and goodness can coexist. Joe's legacy also emerged through the people he helped and inspired. Every person he encouraged, every life he uplifted, and every dream he reignited became a part of the story he left behind. He never sought credit for these moments. He simply understood that empowering others is one of the most meaningful ways to leave a lasting mark. For Joe, success was not measured by what he gained but by what he gave. He also understood the importance of consistency. Anyone can act kindly once, but true legacy is built through repeated actions over time. Joe didn't try to be inspirational for a single day, he lived a life that inspired. His behavior remained steady whether people were watching or not, showing that real integrity reveals itself in private moments. What made Joe's legacy extraordinary was its authenticity. He didn't aim to impress, he aimed to contribute. He didn't try to be remembered, he tried to be useful. His journey was not defined by grand speeches or bold declarations, but by countless small actions that reflected his heart, his vision, and his unwavering commitment to doing what was right. In the eyes of many, Joe became someone whose presence brought strength, whose stories brought clarity, and whose actions brought hope. His legacy lived not in the spotlight, but in the quiet transformation of lives touched by his sincerity and purpose. If there is one force that shaped Joe Ranga's remarkable rise, it is the power of consistency. Many people begin their journey with enthusiasm, but allow obstacles, doubts, or delays to weaken their commitment. Joe understood early on that talent may open the first door, but consistency is what keeps every door open afterward. His success was not built in a single moment, it was built brick by brick through small, steady efforts repeated day after day. Joe knew that greatness does not come from occasional bursts of motivation. It comes from showing up even when motivation fades. He worked on his goals when he was inspired, but he worked even harder on the days when he wasn't. This was the true strength behind his progress. He understood that consistency creates momentum, and momentum creates transformation. Even when results were slow, even when challenges piled up, he refused to break the routine that kept him moving forward. He approached each day with purpose. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment, Joe made the moment perfect through action. He broke his tasks into manageable steps, focusing on progress rather than perfection. This steady rhythm allowed him to stay grounded, disciplined, and always connected to his vision. While others were distracted or discouraged, Joe kept building, learning, and improving. His persistence became a quiet but unstoppable force. Consistency also taught Joe valuable lessons about patience. He learned that meaningful achievements take time and that rushing the process often leads to mistakes or burnout. Instead, he trusted the journey. He honored each stage of growth, understanding that even slow progress is still progress. Through this, he developed resilience, the kind that comes not from big victories but from the daily act of refusing to quit. What made Joe's consistency so powerful was not just his dedication to work, but his dedication to values. He remained consistent in kindness, consistent in integrity, and consistent in respect for others. Whether he was dealing with success or setbacks, his behavior remained steady, grounded, and authentic. People admired him because he was the same person in private as he was in public. Over time, this unwavering consistency transformed Joe into someone people could rely on. Someone whose actions matched his words, whose efforts reflected his dreams, and whose discipline turned impossible goals into achievable realities. His journey became a living reminder that consistency is not about doing everything perfectly, it is about showing up, again and again, until the results begin to reflect the effort. One of the most remarkable traits that allowed Joe Ranga to thrive in an unpredictable world was his ability to embrace change and adapt with courage and intelligence. Life, he knew, is never static. Circumstances evolve, opportunities shift, and challenges appear when least expected. While many fear change, seeing it as a threat, Joe learned to see it as a chance, a door to growth, learning, and transformation. From early in his journey, Joe encountered situations that required flexibility. Plans he meticulously crafted often needed adjustments. Obstacles appeared that demanded new approaches. Instead of resisting, he developed the mindset that adaptability is not a weakness, it is a strength. He learned to assess situations calmly, consider alternative paths, and make decisions that aligned with both his goals and the reality before him. This ability allowed him to turn potential setbacks into opportunities and navigate uncertainty with confidence. Joe also recognized that adaptability goes beyond strategy, it requires emotional intelligence. Change can be unsettling, creating doubt, fear, or frustration. Yet Joe mastered the art of staying composed, maintaining optimism, and inspiring confidence in others even in times of unpredictability. His ability to remain steady yet flexible reassured those around him that challenges are temporary and that every situation carries a lesson or an opening to succeed. Moreover, Joe embraced lifelong learning as a key part of adaptability. He was open to new ideas, perspectives, and experiences, understanding that rigidity stifles growth. By staying curious and willing to evolve, he not only adapted to changing circumstances but often stayed ahead of them. This proactive mindset allowed him to seize opportunities others overlooked, positioning him for success in situations where many might falter. Through his approach, Joe demonstrated that adaptability is not just reacting to change, it is anticipating it, learning from it, and using it to shape one's future. He showed that when you embrace change rather than fear it, every shift in life becomes a stepping stone toward growth, innovation, and achievement. A cornerstone of Joe Ranga's journey has been his unwavering personal integrity. In a world where shortcuts, compromise, and convenience often tempt people, Joe consistently chose the path of honesty, fairness, and ethical action. He understood that true influence is built not on charm or cleverness, but on trust, and trust is earned through integrity. From small decisions to major life choices, Joe's commitment to doing what was right created a solid foundation for his character and shaped the respect others had for him. Joe's integrity was not passive, it was active. It guided his interactions, his leadership, and the way he conducted himself in both professional and personal settings. He didn't just avoid wrongdoing, he intentionally chose actions that aligned with his principles, even when those actions were difficult, inconvenient, or less profitable. By living consistently with his values, Joe demonstrated that integrity is a practice, not just a concept. People around Joe were inspired by this steadfast commitment. They saw that he did not compromise under pressure or bend his beliefs to suit convenience. This consistency gave him credibility and made his words resonate. When he advised, guided, or motivated others, his advice carried weight because it was backed by authenticity. His integrity allowed him to build relationships rooted in mutual respect, loyalty, and trust. Moreover, Joe's integrity influenced his decision-making in moments of uncertainty. Rather than chasing immediate gains or easy solutions, he considered the long-term impact of his choices on himself and others. This perspective enabled him to navigate challenges with clarity and fairness, reinforcing the idea that ethical action and success are not mutually exclusive, they complement each other. By living with integrity, Joe Ranga also inspired a culture of accountability and moral courage in those around him. People learned from his example that standing by one's principles is not only admirable but transformative. It empowers individuals to act boldly, speak truthfully, and maintain dignity even when circumstances are challenging. Joe's journey illustrates that personal integrity is not just a value, it is a legacy that shapes character, leadership, and the lives of everyone touched by it. One of the most profound aspects of Joe Ranga's life is the ripple effect of inspiration he has created. His journey demonstrates that the influence of a single individual can extend far beyond their immediate circle, touching lives, igniting dreams, and motivating action in ways that are often unseen but deeply felt. Joe understood that inspiration is contagious. When one person rises above challenges and pursues their vision with courage, it naturally encourages others to do the same. Joe's influence began with the stories he lived and shared. Every challenge he faced, every obstacle he overcame, and every goal he achieved became more than just personal milestones, they became lessons for others. People observed his determination, resilience, and vision, and it sparked in them a belief that they too could overcome their limitations. Through his example, he showed that ordinary people, through perseverance and commitment, could achieve extraordinary results. What made Joe's inspiration particularly powerful was its authenticity. He did not preach ideals from a distance. He demonstrated them in action. His failures, triumphs, struggles, and victories were all visible and relatable, making his message resonate deeply. People didn't just admire him, they saw a reflection of their own potential in his journey, and that realization motivated them to take action in their own lives. Joe also understood that inspiration multiplies when shared. He actively encouraged others, mentored those who sought guidance, and lifted people who doubted themselves. Each act of support created another ripple, expanding the circle of impact. Those inspired by him often went on to inspire others, creating a chain reaction of positivity, motivation, and transformation that spread far beyond what any one person could measure. Furthermore, Joe's story illustrates that inspiration is not only about achieving goals, it's about how you achieve them. His commitment to integrity, empathy, discipline, and consistency showed people that success is not just about reaching the destination, but about how you live the journey. By embodying these principles, he became a living example of values in action, reinforcing that character and influence go hand in hand. Through every action, decision, and interaction, Joe Ranga continues to create waves of inspiration. His life demonstrates that one person's courage, vision, and dedication can spark hope in countless others, proving that the impact of inspiration extends far beyond what we can see. It creates a legacy that grows exponentially, touching generations to come. One of the most defining traits of Joe Ranga's journey is his courage to challenge the ordinary. While many people accept life as it comes, constrained by routine, expectations, or fear, Joe consistently questioned the status quo and dared to envision something greater. He understood that true progress, both personal and societal, requires boldness, a willingness to step beyond comfort zones, and the courage to pursue ideas that others might dismiss as impossible. From an early stage, Joe realized that ordinary thinking produces ordinary results. To achieve meaningful impact, he needed to think differently, act differently, and push boundaries. This required inner courage, the type that allows a person to face criticism, navigate uncertainty, and endure setbacks without losing faith in their vision. Joe embraced this courage as a constant companion, using it to take risks that others avoided, explore new opportunities, and challenge conventional wisdom. His courage was not reckless. It was informed by clarity, preparation, and belief. He carefully assessed situations, considered potential outcomes, and moved forward with determination, understanding that progress often comes at the edge of discomfort. By daring to take calculated risks, he demonstrated that growth is impossible without venturing into unknown territory. Joe's actions inspired those around him to challenge their own limits. People witnessed him defy expectations, overcome obstacles, and transform setbacks into stepping stones. This inspired a mindset shift. It showed them that challenging the ordinary is not about defying rules arbitrarily, it's about pursuing meaningful change, discovering untapped potential, and refusing to be confined by limitations imposed by society, circumstances, or even self-doubt. Additionally, Joe's courage to challenge the ordinary influenced his leadership and mentorship. He encouraged innovation, welcomed new perspectives, and motivated people to think creatively and act boldly. He demonstrated that ordinary approaches are comfortable but rarely transformative, and that progress, excellence, and innovation come from those willing to step outside the norm. Through every endeavor, Joe Ranga exemplifies that courage is not the absence of fear, it is the strength to move forward despite it. By challenging the ordinary, he not only carved a path for his own extraordinary journey but also opened doors for countless others to rethink what is possible, break free from limitations, and pursue lives filled with purpose, passion, and impact. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Ranga's journey teaches us a powerful truth. Life is not defined by a single story, a single achievement, or a single moment. It is shaped by every choice, every challenge, and every action we take. His life reminds us that one person with courage, vision, and determination can create countless stories of inspiration, resilience, and transformation. As we reflect on his journey, let us carry forward the lessons he has shared through his life. Lessons of perseverance, integrity, empowerment, and hope. Let us be inspired to dream boldly, act relentlessly, and lift others along the way. And most importantly, let us remember that each of us has the power to turn our own experiences into stories worth telling, stories that can touch hearts, inspire minds, and leave a legacy far beyond our own. Joe Ranga is more than a man. He is a movement of possibilities, a living testament to the idea that one person can indeed create many stories. May his journey inspire us to embrace our potential, rise above our challenges, and write our own extraordinary stories.